Alright. So who here has ever smoked hookah? Everyone? Except for... Alright. For those of you who have smoked hookah, I'm just going to tell you how to set it up properly and smoke it properly to make your hookah experience more enjoyable. And for those of you who haven't smoked hookah, I'm here to show you how it works and why it works, and maybe at the end of the speech you might want to actually go out and try it. I don't know. First off, setting up your hookah, you need to take your base. This is your base right here. Next step you need to do is to take your base and fill it up with water so that your stem, which is this guy right here, is about 1 inch deep in water. Next, in setting up your hookah, you need to attach your stem to your chamber. This is your chamber. Mine is a twist-on hookah. Some hookahs come in where they just snug into place. I personally do not like those, because if there's any places in the hookah where it is not airtight, it won't work. Next step into setting up your hookah, take the rubber seal, put it on your base, and then attach the chamber to your base. Again, it's a spin on everything, which is also good for making sure everything's on nice and snug. Once you have it all snug, next step, you take your tray. The only thing that the tray does is to catch ash for your coals. Then you take your rubber stopper, put it on top of the chamber. This rubber stopper creates a seal for your bowl. What the bowl does is it holds the shisha, which is the technical term for flavored tobacco or hookah, and the rubber seal just makes it airtight so that there's no airflow in or out to where it can work. Next off, you need to attach your hose or hoses. My hookah that I'm using today is a 3-hose hookah, but I'm only going to demonstrate it with one. So, attach your hose there, make sure it's nice and tight, and it's good to go. Next, what you'll need to do is to actually add the hookah or shisha to your bowl. But since I don't know what the school rules are, I didn't bring any tobacco or coals with me. So I'm going to show you on my PowerPoint how to do that. So first off, while you're setting up your hookah, you should start lighting your coals. I use a blowtorch and a tin. This is what this weekend when I was doing for the project, I was doing this. Blowtorch works very nicely. You can also use a stove or any other type of heat that will actually make create your coals to make them hot. So while you're doing that, I actually have my girlfriend do the coals for me. I don't like to do it. Next on, you need to pack your bowl. And in packing your bowl, you need to make sure that, one, all the tobacco is about level with the top of the bowl, but not packed tightly. If it's packed too tightly, it'll block these holes right here, and it won't work. So you need to pack your bowl rather loosely. And then once you have that done, you can do one of two things. You can use a metal screen, which basically what you need to do is just set it on top and then put the coals on top. I don't like metal screens. They're gross, they're in the way, it's annoying. So what I use is tinfoil, and that's what most places use. You need to make sure you wrap your tinfoil tightly around the top of the bowl and make sure it's snug with no air going in or out. Once you have that, you need to still make sure that the hookah is nice and loose. So by shaking it, if you hear it rattling around, you know you packed your bowl correctly. But since tinfoil doesn't come wrapped with holes in them, you need to poke holes in them yourself. You can do this with one of two ways. You can use anything that has a pointer on it. I like to use a toothpick. If the holes are too big and you put coals on it, you'll burn the hookah and it'll become harsh, as people call it, and just basically is burnt tobacco, and it's a god-awful taste. So now that I've showed you how to set up a hookah and start smoking the hookah, I'm going to tell you how everything actually works. Since it's not completely set up here, I'm just going to demonstrate. First off, you need to take your hose and you need to start breathing into the hose. What that does, it takes the coals that are on top of the hookah, which actually brings me to my next slide. The coals that are on top of the hookah, creating heat throughout the tobacco in the bowl, which brings them through the hole, all the way down through the chamber, and the stem, and the water. And what the water does, it acts as a filter, where smoke will build up in the rest of the bowl where the water is not filled up to. So once it filters through the water, it comes up through the stem again, up through the chamber, out your hose, into your mouth, which creates the smoke and the flavor. Depending on the flavor, will depend on how much smoke you actually get. I know personally that Royal Grape is probably one of the more extreme flavors for smoke-wise, depending on what you guys like. A lot of flavors are acquired taste. I personally like grape, white peach blue mist, white peach, white grape, honeydew melon, and this new flavor I just found out called Barracuda. It's actually really good. It's a combination of fruits and flavors. I highly recommend it. So now that you guys know how hookahs work, how to set them up, the reason why I like to smoke hookah, my friends, because I feel like it is a very fun social environment to do. Yeah, that is me in the back blowing that out. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, that's enough. It's a very social environment, it's fun to do. I've actually personally smoked hookah with Dave here. He had a great time doing it. It's better, in my opinion, than going to the movies or just sitting at home watching TV, because you're interacting, you're having fun, you're joking around, and it's just a great old time. It's good to catch up, and you get to make fun of people who can't do those. So, my opinion, it's the most fun I have during the weekend. So, now that you know how hookahs work and how to set them up, maybe you guys would actually like to come smoke one day. Thanks.
Smoked hookah in years.
I've been listening to that.
That big one, that was in the picture?
Huh?
The big
yeah,
one.
the big one.
That's pretty crazy.
I just got that one for my birthday.
I used to have one of them. Pink one.
You would have a pink one.
Almost stole it at a party I was at in high school.
The first one I got,
that.
short gold one.
Yeah, I had like a little tiny
like a
one.
12 inch. My new one's like 28 inches.
Yeah, go pick a hole.
Oreos.
Those ones they have at the places.
I got this one at Venice Beach.
That's the best
Yeah,
place
Venice
to buy
Beach.
something.
Oh
my God.
Like there's more smoke in Penn State. Like, it's like yeah, it's like that is there, but it makes you heavy.
But it's safe.
I like it.
Yeah. But since it's
through like loops and all that stuff. It's what you need to keep around. They have it made up where you can use the keyboard as like a piano keyboard. And so I was like trying to do it, so I was like, those programs you have like, yeah, right, that's why I didn't want to that's only like, I just have it around. The pre-made loops that they have.
All right, Josh, I thought that you did a good combination of the equipment and the overhead there, but I do think that you are overemphasizing some of the equipment. You spend so much time on it, and it becomes the structure for the first half of the speech, and then, and next, and then. It's like there are 15 steps before we get to any discussion about what's going on. It's just this procedure about doing things, and it's not always, it's not usually a really interesting procedure. It's just technical kind of stuff. So, and because you're engaged in that, you tend to look down, you're focused on the equipment, you're not really engaging the audience, and there's no content being developed, and I think that's a little bit problematic. When you do look up, you're okay, but you're inconsistent about doing that. Your expressions, they exist within a pretty narrow range. Maybe maybe you don't have one of those dynamic faces, but there's an occasional raised eyebrow or a little upturn at the corner of the mouth that does suggest that you have some attitude or opinion about what's going on. I'm sorry, I got to stop this because